007 First Light is a video game origin story for the most famous super spy in cinematic history.
Drinking alone was never my forte.
Well, I didn't realize you were this thirsty.
Between playing that game's lush single-player campaign and the news that casting for the next Bond is officially underway, 007's been on my mind recently. Also, there was the announcement of God of War Laufey, a game where instead of playing as Kratos, you play his wife. Not the one he killed, the one that died. As you might expect, this news received a very calm and reasonable reaction from the internet. That made me ponder the quote-unquote replacement of male protagonists with female ones, and so here we are. Should a woman play Bond? Jane Bond, if you will. No. While Pierce Brosnan has come out in support of the idea, both Daniel Craig and longtime Bond series producer Barbara Broccoli have spoken against it, and their argument is pretty much in line with mine. We don't need a female Bond, we need better roles for women. There should be a female-led spy action franchise that rivals Bond's popularity, with a main character that's just as iconic and memorable. To be fair, doing the gun barrel sequence and a dress in heels would be pretty sweet. Sounds like an easy contender for one of the best gun barrels ever. Although, that's actually not as high a bar as you might think. Oh no, Grandpa, you got me. Oh. We need James Bond's Lara Croft. Tomb Raider's lead started out as a video game derivative of Indiana Jones, and instead ended up becoming one of the most iconic characters of the medium. The other reason I'm against a female Bond is not so much tradition as it is precedent. After more than 60 years, a female Bond will be defined by being the exception, the girl in the boys' club. Every Bond actor faces an enormous amount of pressure to step into those shoes. They will be judged against their peers, now and forever. Who's the best Bond is up there with pineapple on pizza for needlessly heated debates. But lucky for you, your pal Cinema Stan is here to give you the definitive answer. It's Craig, on the strength of his filmography. Really solid beginning, middle, and end that more than make up for the other two. Brosnan is pretty close, but even though GoldenEye is great, The World Is Not Enough is underrated, and Die Another Day is a guilty pleasure, his movies are just weaker overall. Dalton was a contender that never got his fair shake. Lazenby is fantastic as long as he doesn't speak. Connery's a legend, but his movies have noticeably aged.
Now let's both play.
Talk to no means no.
And Roger Moore sucks. As all of you no doubt rush to the comments to explain just how wrong I am, I want you to remember that a female Bond will not only have to deal with that kind of pressure and constant comparisons, but also a heaping pile of sexist crap on top of it. It's not even the fun kind of misogyny. Not that misogyny is ever fun. I mean, like in really old movies, like the Connery ones, where he just casually does something super sexist.
Dink, say goodbye to Felix. Man talk.
And you just kind of laugh and go, man, those crazy 60s, they sure were a different time. I'm not a misogynist. I love women. That's why I think they should never play Bond. Fuck. When people get mad about female protagonists taking over, it's hard to tell how much of that is the product of actual outrage and how much is performative rage baiting for clicks. But I'm pretty sure that for all the filmmakers, video game developers, and talented performers, at a certain point, fake or ironic misogyny becomes indistinguishable from the real thing. That kind of overwhelming bad faith negativity does cast an ugly shadow over things. Kinda like how I can't enjoy the marketing for the Oddysey without being subjected to tedious discussions about historical accuracy.
Nobody cares. Nice hat.
But Stan, if we don't do things just to avoid the ire of hateful people with backwards views, aren't we perpetuating the vicious cycle of male-dominated media? Thank you, Mr. Strawman. Great question. But I'm not saying don't push back ever. I'm saying pick your fights. Stand up for a female doctor in Doctor Who, because that character is an alien that can literally be anyone. And it's crazy that it's mostly been a white dude. In Bond's case, like I said, I think we should spend our energy fighting for better roles for women altogether. The Bond franchise portrayal and attitude towards women has evolved quite a bit since those early days. Judi Dench famously played a female M, which was a first for the series, but not a last. Moneypenny got to be a field agent, briefly.
Mission failed. We'll get him next time.
And in Craig's last film, his 00 successor was a black woman.
You get in my way, I will put a bullet in your knee. The one that works.
I think expanding the role, agency, and depth of the female characters in Bond movies is not just wonderful, it's necessary. And they can be a fascinating lens through which to examine Bond's particular brand of masculinity.
Because I think you're a sexist, misogynist dinosaur. A relic of the Cold War.
But James Bond should always be a man. If you want me to be even more specific, I'll say mid-20s to late 40s, early 50s is kind of pushing it. Some sort of British roots, but doesn't have to be a white guy. Sexuality-wise, even though he's mostly portrayed as aggressively heterosexual, I think a bisexual Bond is definitely on the table. Not under it, though. Come on, he's a top.
Oh, Mr. Bond.
Let's see, what else? Casino Royale is the best Bond movie. God of War Laufey looks fun as hell. Amazon should back off and let IO Interactive have free reign with future Bond games. And if you enjoyed this video, you should like and subscribe.
I've been known to experiment.
Audio. James. Still on.
Wow, what a cuck.